Hey guys, welcome to Woodwork Life. So I've had this on my mind for a while and I just kind of wanted to share it with you guys. I'm nobody to tell you what to do, but this is just some kind of insight that I've had through my life and through joining this community on YouTube. So I want to kind of share with you 5 do's and 5 don'ts about woodworking. Norm Abrams will be proud of this one. Don't be cavalier with safety. Tools have a proper way to function, and you need to be as safe as possible with any given task. If something you're about to do feels unsafe or feels unright, stop and think if there's a safer way to do it. Sometimes there's not, but most of the time there's a much safer way to hold your work, perform the job that you're trying to do. Don't be getting your hands in the way of spinning blades. Don't cut yourself with sharp edges. Those are the kind of things that take you out of your shop, and you want to spend as much time in your shop making and creating. Keep your shop clean. Having your shop free of sawdust or shrapnel or tools laying around, cords on the ground, all those things can really help you to stay safer. And the safer you are, the more time you're going to actually get to spend in your shop, because an injured woodworker is not a woodworker that can be very productive. So take the time to put away your tools, take the time to clean up a little bit around the shop, use a fancy dust collector like I have, and just try to keep your shop clean. It'll make the hobby more enjoyable too, because if you're anything like me and you have 2 kids and a wife at home, you want the time in your shop, the precious time in your shop, to be working, not to be looking for a tape measure. Never sweat the tools that you don't have. The best tool for any job is always the tool that's on hand. So if you have a jigsaw, don't be worried about getting a bandsaw. If you have a miter saw, don't be worried about a table saw. All these tools are great and they can all come in time, but use the best tool you have on hand for whatever job is ahead of you. And as you do more jobs or find ways to make more money or find ways to turn it into more of a dedicated hobby, you can spend more money on some of those tools that you really need. This is a big one because this really takes away from the enjoyment of the hobby. People won't notice your mistakes, so don't point out your mistakes, especially in woodworking. If someone's looking at a project that you just completed, they're not looking for the mistakes. They're impressed at what you did. Maybe a master craftsman or someone that's been working at this for a long time might look at some of the things you did and be able to point out some of the flaws in your work, but those flaws are for you. You did those, you worked your way around them, and that's half the hobby. If you didn't make any mistakes, you wouldn't be doing woodworking, and you probably wouldn't be acquiring any new skills. So be proud of your mistakes, but don't point them out to people. Let people enjoy the work that you've done. It makes the hobby much more fulfilling too. So one of the things that I've learned through being part of this YouTube community and a lot of the online forums and Facebook groups and local woodworking groups is do ask for help, guidance, and advice. There's thousands, if not millions of people in the crafts around the world, and they're more than happy to share their experience and mastery with you. All you have to do is ask and be willing to listen. They're not going to judge, and this community is very warm and receiving. So feel free, if you get stuck somewhere, ask someone for help. I got stuck on a tool just recently, and I'm actually sending it off to Hand Tool Rescue after talking with him over email a little bit to have him help me restore one of the transition planes that I found at a garage sale. I gave it away in a Facebook giveaway a couple months ago, and I just didn't have the heart to give it to someone in the condition it was in. So I asked around for help, and he's going to help me out with it. So look out for a video from him on restoring that hand plane. Follow the 4 Ps. This is kind of something of my own creation, I guess, but I'm sure people have lived by it for a long time. Practice, patience, precision, and of course more practice. Anything that you're wanting to get better at, you're never going to get better at if you don't put in the time to actually do it. So take some time, try some of the skills that you want to acquire, put the work in, and eventually you'll be able to do things that you never thought you'd be able to. Patience is also important. Be patient with yourself, be patient with other people. You're not going to learn it all in a day. So don't get ahead of yourself. Try to prevent the mistakes you can by just thinking out a process before you jump right into it. And precision. The old adage, measure twice and cut once, is as true today as it ever was. And even better, don't just measure the most precise way you can. Why use a measuring tape when you can use calipers? Why use calipers when you can cut to fit? It's important to use the highest level of precision possible with any given task. And of course, more practice. All of these things in the 4 Ps require practice, and just stick with it. If you keep working, you keep trying a harder skill each time, eventually you'll be doing things you never thought possible. Another way that we can keep this community helpful and open and willing to communicate is don't be a joinery Nazi. Whether somebody's using pocket holes, glue, nails, drywall screws, festool dominoes, hand-cut dovetails, whatever it may be, don't be a joinery Nazi. There's not a right and wrong way to do things in woodworking. Just do the best you can. Sometimes you'll end up with something where the joinery is absolutely gorgeous, but people cut dovetails because they didn't have screws and nails and glue. The glues that we use today, epoxy and things like that, can do tasks that weren't even possible back then. So don't be a joinery Nazi. Know that whoever made that thing made it with the best joint that they knew possible, and that they worked with the tools they had on hand. At some point you were in the same boat, so don't judge. Next is kind of one I adopted from the Samurai Carpenter. He's got a great channel, I'll link to it up here. But do try things that you don't know how to do. No one's ever learned anything inside their comfort zone. So the only way to acquire new skills is to step outside that comfort zone and try something that you've never tried before. You may not be perfect at it right away, but the best way to acquire a new skill is to bite off more than you can chew and just sink or swim on your own merit. You may find a new way to approach a task that no one's ever thought of before. Likely they have, but bite off more than you can chew. It's a good thing. Don't be a jerk. Enough said. Whether you're hacking away at a 2x4 with a knife and a handsaw, or whether you have a full shop of the best tools available, just get out there and make something. It's the best way you're going to really grow this craft and grow your own talents is really just to get out in your shop and make something. If you don't have a shop, get out to a table and make something. If you don't have a table, sit down in a chair and whittle something. That's the only way you're really going to get better though, is to actually work at it. So that's the end of this rant. I don't plan on doing this often. I don't much like just talking to camera, but it is what it is. There's 5 things. These aren't pointed at anybody in particular, but just 5 things I think that'll help keep our people in our community growing. So thanks for watching today. If you did enjoy the video, please drop me a like below. If you hated it, dislike it so I know to never make something like this again. But anyways, thanks for joining me today with Woodwork Life. Remember to keep your tools sharp and to keep your mind even sharper. Have a good one.